Hi everyone. I wanted to give a short preview of the talk I have coming up this Thursday at Open Source North. I'm going to be going over 10 JavaScript features you may not know about and could be using in your code today. So today, as part of the preview, I'm going to go over .freeze and why it's important. So we know that a few years ago, JavaScript introduced the concept of const, where you can have a constant variable as opposed to just vars, as it originally was. So here I'm setting up a const on an object, and then I'm changing items within that object. And then I'm going to go ahead and log that name, that item I tried to change, to the console. If I run this, that change took place. And I think for programmers coming from another language, this may not make much sense. They're expecting const to work the way it does with primitives. So if I just say x equal to 1, and I try to set it to a new value, and hit run again, I get a type error. This is what people expect when they're working with objects. But with JavaScript, when you create this object, the variable is not actually holding the data itself, but instead it's holding a reference to that object. So by changing the name, I didn't actually change the variable. I changed what's out there just being referenced. So going back to that example of x equals 3, if I try to change my reference to now point to x, I get that type error that you'd expect. But maybe you're doing some defensive programming or functional programming where you want to make sure that your object is not mutable. You want to lock it down and ensure that no one changes it. That's where the .freeze comes in. So I can call object.freeze and pass it my JSON object. And now this is going to make that JSON object immutable. So when I clear this and run it, you'll see that original value persists. I can no longer change the items within the object. So this will work for objects and arrays. The one thing you should know is that it only goes one level deep. So if you have nested objects, you're going to have to call it on all of them to make sure that everything within that object is immutable. So come by Open Source North and check out my talk. I will be speaking at 10 a.m. And if you're around, please come to the Commerce Tools booth. I'll be manning the booth and I'll be happy to answer any questions around the talk or discuss Commerce Tools or the JavaScript language.